Hello everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and today I'm going to show you a couple of different websites where you can create your own 2D game art. I'm going to show you two websites that deal with different styles. One's going to be in pixel art, which is this website here, Piskel, P-I-S-K-E-L, and another is going to be in Vector, V-E-C-T-R, which is going to deal with vector art. I'm going to show you how to use both programs to create artwork for your game, and I'll show you how to export it and maybe even dump them into Unity if we have some time. So let's start with Piskel first, because in my opinion this is the easier to use of the two, and it's one we're probably going to use for most of the games that we make, just because pixel art style is pretty it's a pretty popular style, especially in 2D games right now, and it's something that a lot of you have asked me about. So this right here is a really great tool. Plus, this app was built with game development in mind, so it has a couple features here that are going to be helpful to us when we're importing our sprite sheets into Unity, and I'll show you those when we get in there. So let's go ahead and create a sprite. I could log into mine and show you all the ones that I've created. Actually, yeah, let's go into my gallery. I'll show you some of the things you can make with this app, and then we'll make a new one together. So let's see, I have one that's clouds and bushes. No, I don't want to edit the info. Let's edit the sprite. I'll show you what this looks like. So it's basically just the same thing, just I have clouds. When you put them together they form a cloud, and then I have the same thing down here that's just on the ground. When you put them together it makes bushes, so you can put those together in a game. I also have, let's see what else. Yeah, I also have a spaceman, an angry ball. There's a knight from the top. I have a TIE fighter I made, which is cool, with a TIE fighter energy bolt coming out of it, so you can shoot TIE fighter stuff. Blaster bolts, bullets, spaceman from the top. I have some ground tiles here for some games. Let's see. I have a Millennium Falcon I made with some animation on it. Paint drop character, which is a, it's going to be a 2D side scroller character. Some spikes and platforms, aliens, just stuff. I was messing around with it. So let's actually create a new one. I'm going to click Create Sprite, and I get this open area. This is my workspace. This is where I can work. The first thing I want to pay attention to is how big this thing is, because this is pixel-based art, so we want to make sure we're working with the right size. So if I go over here to Preferences, not Preferences, Resize. There we go. So over here I can see that this is a 32 pixels by 32 pixels thing, which is fine. A lot of games are based on 32 by 32. If we wanted to go bigger, we could do that. I tend to like to give myself a little bit of a buffer, so what I usually do is I just bump it up to 64 by 64. That way I have more of a drawing space. And then, I can spend more time working on the drawing, and then I can clip it down whenever I'm done. All right. Let's see. So let's talk about the tools over here. We have our pen tool, and then we have the sizes. So I can create a pen tool which does 4 pixels by 4 pixels at a time, makes a nice big stroke. I can do a vertical mirror pen, which essentially what that does is that it allows me to basically mirror my strokes on both sides of the screen simultaneously, so I can create really nice symmetrical art using this. And also while I'm doing this, I can hold either Shift or Control to change how it's mirrored. I can mirror it horizontally, or I can hold them both and mirror it both horizontally and vertically. Which I don't know why it's not going over there. Anyway, but that's a really cool tool that you can use. We also have the paint bucket tool, rectangle, circle tool, eraser, stroke, fill all pixels the same color. So maybe if you have a character and you want to recolor them really quick, you want to turn your Mario into a Luigi, you can click that and change all the colors of a specific color to a different color. Move tools, selections, all this stuff. So let's go ahead and create a very simple brick, right? Because that's what we're trying to do. We're creating bricks. So I'm going to set the outline. Sure, I'm going to make the outline a little bit thicker than the rest of the brick. Alright, and then inside I'm going to fill it in with a nice color. So let me choose a, sure, we'll go with a brighter red brick to start us with. And then what I can do here, go back to my black color, I can create some definition on the brick. And actually, I probably want to use my stroke tool for that. Create some definition on the brick here. Just, I don't know, create a little something. Just play around with it. That's what I do. I'm not really that great at art, so I just kind of play around until I get something that looks kind of nice. But it's up to you. You can play with it however you want. So I'll go ahead and get rid of, yeah, that looks pretty okay for now. Maybe I can shade under here and do some shading and make it look a little bit better, but whatever. I'm going to leave it alone. Now, once I have this brick done, if I want to very quickly make a whole set of bricks for my game, I can come up here to this frame, and I can hit duplicate this frame. And when I do that, I get an exact duplicate of what I have, but instead of this, I can go in and use my Paint All Pixels tool and change it from red to, say, a cool blue, right? Oh, and notice that's strobing out, and you're probably going to have a seizure, so I'm going to turn the frames per second down. What's going on there is Piskel is really for creating animated sprites. And so I can create a frame of my character standing still, and then a frame here of my character with one foot out, and then another frame where his foot's out a little further. I can create a sprite of him running, right? But that's not what we're doing here. We're just going to make a bunch of individual art assets. So I'll create another one, and I can change the color to a kind of forest green, and then another one, and I can make it like yellow. Let's make it a bright yellow, whatever. And I can have a bunch of bricks that I want to export. So let's say those are the bricks I want for my game. Now when I come over here, I can save my work because I'm logged in, and it's free to create your own account on Piskel. So I would recommend doing that if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to call this Arkanoid Bricks. Okay, and I'll save that to my gallery, and it'll save. And then I can export it. I want to export it as a sprite sheet. Now, sprite sheets are really cool because it takes all of our frames over here and it exports them on one picture. And then we can use Unity to split that up and separate our picture into different sections. So we can create individual pieces of art again. But this allows us to deal with, I've seen sprite sheets that have every single asset for an entire game just on one giant sprite sheet. You can just split it up as you go. So we're going to take this very small sprite sheet. We're going to make it 2 by 2. We can make it 1 by 4 if we want, however we want to set up the grid. But 2 by 2 is fine. We want to make sure it's a PNG. And then I'm going to click download. And it's going to download my Arkanoid bricks here. I'm going to open it up and show you what it looks like. So now it has my Arkanoid bricks, my 4 bricks side by side, well, in a grid essentially. And when I dump that into Unity, Unity is going to treat that like it's, oh, let's get rid of these. Yeah, let's delete. Unity is going to treat my bricks as one individual piece of art. So I'm going to show you how to split that up so that we can use our bricks separately. Let's go in here and Arkanoid. There we go. There's my Arkanoid brick. Boom. Alright, so now here we have our bricks. And if I brought this in, you could see that it's split up into, or it's not split up, it's just one single piece. So that's not what we want. What we want to do is change its sprite mode from single to multiple. And then when we go into the sprite editor, we will see that I have all my sprites here. I want to slice this sprite. I want to slice it by cell size, and I know that it's 64 by 64. That is the size of my cell. I'm going to click slice. Now it doesn't really look like anything happened because it's really hard to see. But when I hit slice, it actually cut this picture into 4 separate sections. And then I'm going to hit apply, and I'll see if it actually worked. And it did. So when I click that arrow next to my Arkanoid brick sprite sheet, now I have all 4 of my bricks that are separate and can be dragged out and placed next to one another in the game. Oh, Perfect. And beautiful. So there we go. I have my bricks in the game, and we can make as many of those as I want. Now that's the pixel-based way of doing it. Let's take a look at the vector way of doing it. So I'll close these tabs out here. And let's go into vector. Now vector art is it's a kind of art that deals with math, right? So we don't have to actually worry about being pixel perfect here, because with the vector art we can size it as big as we want or as small as we want. So I'm going to click Use Online, and I'll just very quickly show you the editor. Not a lot of you are going to play around with vector art too much right now. It's something you definitely should get into if you're going to want to make your art look a lot better in the game. But this is kind of like a fancy version of Microsoft Paint. There are some cool tools in here that can help you draw a little better. But, you know, again, this is something that I'm not going to spend too much time teaching you how to do. Let's see. But yeah, you can play around here, draw out whatever you want, make some cool shapes and stuff, make cool logos, you know. And again, this is something you're going to not really play around with too much, so I'm not going to worry about it. But let's say you draw your shape here and you want to export your files. Make sure you export them as a PNG, because Unity won't recognize SVG files. Export it as a PNG, download it, then you can import it just like you would any other art asset in Unity. But mainly I want you to focus on pixel-based art with Piskel. Alright, that was it for me. I told you it'll be a short video, and it's right at about 12 minutes, so I think short is long past. So I'm going to shut up and let you get to work. Thank you for paying attention, and I will see you next time.